Hey yo, it is May the 31st, 2020. Right now we're in the mid-afternoon time. Can't really tell so much because it's quite cloudy outside. Check that out. Alright. But we're in the garden. I wanted to take a brief moment out actually and overlook some of these plants right quick. Talk with you about them and stuff. Later on I plan to have a live stream. I can't guarantee it, but I want to do a live stream later on this evening if I can get certain things accomplished before I do that. It's going to be later on this evening. Alright, it's going to have a lot to do with, as I've mentioned before, the culture of, gardening, farming, small farms, farmers markets, getting consumers getting what they want, right? I want to have a live stream about that, and there's a lot of details that I can share with you that you probably already well know, or you might find it interesting. Okay, so that's just to let you know my intentions. Meanwhile, while we're in the garden, I want to take a pretty good look at these plants. I want to tell you about them and my particular plan. For example, take a look at this tomato plant. Isn't that luscious? Alright? I actually picked that up at the Home Depot. I can't remember, a day ago or a couple of days ago. Picked it up. And doesn't it look luscious? Yeah, it does. Right. When you take a look at my other tomato plants, they're kind of taller. The stalks are very sturdy. They're not so as luscious as this bad boy. Okay, not so much as this. Could have a lot to do with the type of tomato plant, and that this one's different. This one over here is what they call a beef master. You can see down there, it's a beef master tomato plant. And I bought another one. I'm not sure where it's at right now. I don't remember exactly, but we'll find it before long. I bought another tomato plant. These are the ones that I grew from seed. Now, they're being tall has a lot to do with how they've been treated. For example, I've already transferred these here tomato plants one time from, say, a pod that's this big. This is how they started. I gotta get some of this water down here, but this is how they started. And then I transplanted them into these Dixie cups. Now I want to be full disclosure. You don't want to have to do that. That's not the best bet. Your best bet is if you're a gardener, small farmer, take this little pod and stick it directly into the ground. That is as soon as spring ends, or as soon as spring begins, as soon as the danger of frost is gone, you'll put these little pod seedlings in the ground and hope that it doesn't freeze over again and kill your pods. Okay, anytime after that, probably for the most part, especially in central southern Texas, you sow the seeds directly into the ground, and that is your best bet. Alright? And as seedlings, you treat them a certain kind of way. Once they get bigger, you start giving them food that's, in the way of nutrients and fertilizers and stuff like that. I want to point out, when it comes to this plant, alright, not to take too long, but this tomato plant, it was likely planted directly in this container. And I gotta stress that that's for the best, because transferring your plants is going to cause them a little bit of trauma. So likely what Home Depot or the people looking after their plants, their plant section, is they planted it directly into this pot, and they haven't moved it since. And ever since the very moment that it could accept fertilizers, they've been fertilizing it. And that's why it's like super amazing. So I bought it. Okay. These guys a little bit later on the fertilizer and stuff, so they're not as luscious as this. You might be wondering why and stuff. Not as luscious. I transferred it. I didn't put the fertilizers in as quickly. But mind you, these tomato plants right here, make no mistake, they're going to start producing right when I want them to. A little over a month from now probably, and especially the sooner I can get them in the ground. Now, real briefly, when it comes to these tomato plants, see how tall it is? See how tall it is? For example, you're going to want to make sure you got good ground to put them in. They prefer acidity, and there's ways to test that. There's garden conditioners and everything else to get your soil ready and amend your soil for those tomatoes, right? And I want to point out also, if you were to get it like this, the Dixie cups aren't your best bet. It's just what I did because that's what I had to do. But if you were to get it like this, all right, and for even smaller plants, I would suggest when you take them, you bury them in the ground, bury them up, I don't know, you can see my fingers, bury them up this high, right? Bury the stalk way down into the ground is what I'm saying. Um, what? Running out of battery. Okay, well, let's make this quick. There's just different things that you could do. You could bury tomato plants much lower if you wanted to. Same goes for some other plants, but not all other plants, right? You got to treat them, just right. So this week, what we're doing, just real briefly to give you an update, is we're going to plant these tomato plants. We have to quickly, just to make sure that they arrive on schedule and start producing on schedule. These guys are kind of the same way. I'm actually taking a look over. Most of these are squashes. All right, we're not going to need all of them because squash takes up a lot of room. All right, so in the meantime, I'm gathering which squashes look the best to me. Over this week, they better look better and even greener and bigger. By the end of this week, they better. All right, because I'm going to be judging them. And there's certain plants that aren't so, there's squash plants that aren't so good. What I've gone and did is I separated them. See, they're by themselves right here. And I got some down here, separated them. They're quarantined, all right? That's the whole purpose of quarantine. The rest of the squash plants look excellent, and I'm keeping them away from the bad ones. And we're gonna see how it works out. Some of these bad ones might bloom, that's why I'm not getting rid of them. Some of them might take their power back and, flourish and stuff. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. If they don't, throwing them away, all right? Because I don't need them, I got too many. It's all about numbers, right? So we're planting these tomato plants because we have to. These guys over here, I want to show you, it's a whole bunch of okra. At the same time, we're going to plant those into the ground. If we have some space, we're going to plant those directly in the ground. Forget these Dixie cups. We're going to go straight directly from these pots to the ground. That way we only have to transfer it one time. And actually, I can show you right now, they're about ready to do it. Look, if you look under, see right under here, you see the root structures. They're pouring all through the bottom. That'll let you know they are ready. They're ready today to be transferred. I don't know if we can work that out, but they need to be transferred soon, directly into the ground. All right, because we don't want to bother with having to transfer them into a cup, into the ground. That isn't the best way. It's just what we've been doing, and I want to acknowledge that. These ones over here, I found out, well, what do we got right here? Pepper plants, probably. These are some pepper plants. These is tomato plants. Over here, we got okra plants, tomato plants, pepper plants and stuff like that. Little babies, and trust me, when they get bigger, we're not going to have room for them. All right, we need to make room for them. It's my herb garden, which is looking spectacular. And hopefully I don't run out of battery on my phone, but y'all, it's my herb garden looking spectacular. I just planted cinnamon, what is this? Cinnamon basil. Yeah, it smells like cinnamon. It's amazing. It's a good complement to the rest of this here herb planter that I got over here, and I forget what's in it. Thyme and something else. I forget what's the name of it. Over here we got sage. It's fluffy and white and flaky and stuff. We need to plant stuff right here. We used to have wheatgrass. Now there's a spot open. Over here, that's my purple planter. All right, and you'll note that there's bee balm on this side, and I gotta get it more sunlight. The lavender is like going like crazy, and it's purple. And I just planted this. It's purple basil. I don't know that it necessarily goes with purple lavender as far as combination of smells, but they're both purple, so I liked it. I wanted to find another bee balm. I had bee balm on this side. I wanted to put bee balm on that side, but Home Depot did not have that anymore. You gotta strike while the iron's hot. And so it's a nice little compliment. Anyways, and then we got mint right over here and basil, and that's looking pretty fantastic. All right, this is all ready to go to market and stuff. Down here we got more okras. Those need to be planted. These desperately need to be planted in the ground. All right, and then we're gonna have more okra than we know what to do with. Cucumbers, let's take a look at this. It's been a few weeks. A lot of people don't know about cucumbers. I've grown them a time or two before. They might look at it and say, damn, it takes a long time for them to grow. Yeah, it does. But when they start to hit that a certain point, they're going to grow a vine, and it's going to start to attach itself to something, and then they're going to grow out of control crazy. All right, so just wait for that. That's a ticking time bomb of small cucumbers. It's about to hit us up. Now, just to finish out the video, you're going to know my pepper plants. All right, I got some pepper plants that I've imported. This one's got some blooms going. Hey man, what's the data? Hey Jay. Not too much, not too much. And these guys, all right, this is about to bloom. You can see all the sort of blooms. They're going to become peppers. Over here, getting a cramp. Okay, over here you got purple bell peppers. And you can actually see there's a couple of them coming off right now, all right? So without further ado, we're about to have some of those. Aloe vera. some sort of jalapeno plant, probably. So these are the types of things we have down here. Cucumber plants, there's more of them. Trust me, I'm gonna have more cucumbers than I know what to do with. It's very easy to get way too many cucumbers. There's a pepper, as you can see right there. Cucumber again. And a cactus, all right? And maybe we can eat it, I don't know. I think we'll just leave it there for decoration because I like it. All right, so that is a rundown of the garden right now. Over the next week, we're gonna filter the wheat from the tares, if you will. All right, and everything's gonna be in full bloom, and I'm just very excited. All right, we're gonna see what tomato plants go out of control, crazy, insane, macho madness, all that. Anyways, might be a live stream tonight. I'm thinking about it. There's definitely stuff and information that we gotta share when it comes to farmers markets, when it comes to that culture, when it comes to, hey, what are you eating? Are you eating poison? Or do you not want to do that? What's the best way to go about not doing that and saving money and supporting your own community, right? Something to think about, especially in these days. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. It's May the 31st, 2020.